Good day, everyone, and welcome to Different Stages Radio. I'm your host, JJ, broadcasting in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And my guest today, is the vocalist, lyricist for Juno Award-winning Canadian power metal band Unleash the Archers, who will be going to Europe soon to play some summer festival dates. Please welcome my guest, Brittney SLAYES. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing swell, thank you. Thanks for making time for Different Stages Radio. Repeat performance. It's been
Yeah, thanks for
just
having me
over,
back.
yeah, just been already just over a year since we had you on the first time,
Yep,
just before, and I was calling it Phantoma, so it's Phantoma?
Phantoma. Yeah,
Phantoma.
kind of
Yes,
like Phantom.
Phantom. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about that coming out. We're talking about last year's Vakan Metal Battle Canada progress and judging and all that stuff. So we
Mhm.
can also talk about this year's as well, because you were also, and I as well, were part of the judging panel, which is always a lot of fun. But yeah, you got some Euros festival dates coming up. You got some UK dates, you got Netherlands, you got the Pirate Metal Fest,
Yep.
and it seems pretty fitting that you're a part of that. And
Well,
people, what's going on here?
yeah, I mean, I think it's just a festival put on by, I'm pretty sure it's the Ailstorm like camp, like this,
Oh no! Oh no!
that
Oh
that
no!
crew. Yeah, so they don't like play it every year or anything like that, but that's why they call it the Pirate Metal Party because it's kind of it's a part of their whole organization and group of shows and stuff that they put on. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good time. We're there with our label mates Windrose. So I think they might be on a different date than us, but hopefully we'll maybe get to catch each other in the same hotel or something over the weekend. And yeah, it's going to be hopefully a party. It's a smaller festival, which is awesome. I love that. Because the big ones, it's just kind of, you're just kind of roaming around and blending into the crowd, whereas the smaller ones you get to kind of hang out a bit more and hang out with fans and interact a little bit more. So yeah, we're really excited about it. I mean, we've never played it, so we're gonna find out.
Now, is there any chance that you might slide in some of your own dates between some of these, or you pretty much have all the festival dates kind of crammed into one? It's like a 2 3 week period you got?
Yeah, so we just wanted to do it quick this summer because last summer we lived in Europe and we played festivals every weekend. And that was fun, but this year we were like, okay, we want our own summer. I would like to enjoy the sunshine and hang out with my family and stuff. So this year we were just like, let's just do 2 weekends like packed full of festivals. So we originally had 3 booked for this first weekend of July, and then one of the festivals like actually fully just canceled, isn't going forward. So we've got 2 festivals the first weekend, and then in between we play 3 UK shows because we wanted to get into the northern UK after how well our show in London did in February. So that was kind of like last minute, like let's get in there because obviously we've got a fan base there that's waiting for us. So we so we play Germany, the Netherlands, then we go over to the UK and do 3 shows as kind of like a little mini tour. And then we fly to Finland and do a festival there. And then we fly to Austria and do a festival there. So just 2 kind of festival weekends with some UK dates packed in between. And then that's it for the summer because we absolutely wore ourselves out way too hard last year.
And you also kind of worked yourself out a little harder earlier this year because you mentioned playing London earlier this year, and you did a number of other Euro dates that looked like you had tons of success. So how was
Yeah.
that just a couple
Yeah.
months back?
Yeah, it was awesome. We went out for I think it was like 20 days or something like that in February. And it was awesome. We had such a great time. We were out there with Stryker, fellow Canadians,
Mhm.
and Seven Kingdoms from Florida, who are great friends. And we had an awesome crew of tech and merch and sound and everything. It was such a fun time, and all the shows were really great. There was a couple that were kind of out out in the booths that were not as well attended. But I mean, it happens, you got to play those places over and over again to get the fan base. So we were fine with that. And it was just a blast. The shows were great. And the touring, like the tour mates and just the whole party, like the bus was just laughs the whole time. So it was a great tour. Yeah.
Now, has the last year then been kind of a blur because it is already the first anniversary of Phantom Ah?
Phantom. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
couldn't believe it. And
yeah.
actually, we forgot, and someone reminded us, like online, was just like, "Hey, by the way, happy 1 year birthday or whatever to Phantom." And we were just like, "Oh, right! Holy cow! It's been a year. Like what?" Because last year was just nuts with touring. Yeah, um, and it just went by so fast. And then Europe was like kind of the last of the Phantoma touring in February, and it just so the whole like all of that felt like a blur. And we got back in February, we were just kind of like, "Hey, Dad, I don't want to talk to you for until June when we have to start getting ready for festivals." So um, it was great though. It was yeah, but it's hard to believe that it's already been a year.
And then also with that, since it's been over a year since we did one of these things, I didn't know at the time that what came out a week after Phantoma came out was the Arjun live package thing that you were involved with. How
Yes.
how was that? The live beneath the waves.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, talk
So
about
in
that a bit.
September 2023, I went to Netherlands and I performed with Ayreon for the 01001101, I think, album.
Zero one
And
zero one one zero zero one. I made
okay, I missed the
okay,
zero in
that's
there. And that was a great time and it was really fun. But he filmed the whole thing and recorded the whole thing every night and then put together this live album and DVD. And so then that had a big release last year as well. And that was awesome. It was really great getting to see everyone so excited who didn't get to go to the shows because it's kind of like this exclusive thing that sells out so fast because he just does it in Tilburg in this venue called I think it's 013 or I'm not sure what oh anyways they so there's only a certain amount of people that can go and a lot of people go like all 4 nights and he kept adding shows because they kept selling out so fast and so it was just really great for it to finally be available for everyone to see and I had a lot of friends that messaged me after and were just like, "Oh man, I should have gone to the show and like you were great and you fit in so well and everyone was so nice and yeah, it was a really amazing thing to be a part of, not just, live, but then to also get to be a part of the release of the DVD and the CD and the album and all that. So it was just like the whole thing has just been such an honor um and so many pe new people have discovered us because of it as well. And we had a lot of people actually at the shows in February that would come to the VIPs and be like, "We found you because of Tilburg last year or in 2023." And I'd just be like, "Oh, yes, awesome. Thank you, Arjen, for for including me in that because it's it's such a passionate and dedicated fan base and to be a part of it and then for them to just welcome me with open arms and to be so open-minded about me doing Floor's parts. Um, you just sometimes you find in the metal world that a singer changes or something in a band or you know what I mean, and there's just so much kind of animosity that happens around it. And it was not like that for not even a second with the Aeronauts. So it was awesome. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, it was fun getting to have kind of two simultaneous releases in a year to keep you busy.
Well, in one way, it's almost like, oh, is that you almost want them spread out, but in many ways, I think the timing was perfect with you going over to Europe and all of a sudden having, like you said, there's a whole new crowd of people that are,
Mhm.
"Who's this person? I see she's coming with her band. I want to go see them." And now
Absolutely.
they're just that much more aware.
Yeah, I don't think we would have sold out our Netherlands show if that hadn't happened. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit here. Maybe we would have, but um yeah, it was definitely it was great. It was a great addition to the existing fan base. So welcome Aeronauts to the world of Unleash the Archers.
And how is Arjun? Arjun just seems like a very class
He's
dude.
He's just a nice person in general. So much success and still so kind and down to earth and just loves making music and working with, fellow artists and being a creative and um, just knows how lucky he is to get to be able to do this and is thankful for it every day. And yeah, he asked me to do it this year again, but I wasn't sure what we were going to be doing for touring and things like that. So I couldn't, unfortunately, I couldn't um, commit to that. So it was, yeah, it was really unfortunate because it would have been nice to have been a part of that whole thing again. But hopefully, maybe in the future he'll keep me in mind for other things, and we can continue working together because he is amazing, and just the people that he surrounds himself with are amazing, and the crew that he hires every time he does the shows there. He does, once a year he kind of does a big production, and the crew are always the same, and they're always so nice. And so it's just, yeah, he's a great person.
It sounds like a terrible experience.
Right?
It's just
It was once in a lifetime, like
yeah,
legitimately. It was
yeah,
just, it was just the coolest.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then what about the Myrath? What's going on there? What happened with
Yeah.
like that's all crazy. The Temple Walls and the Karma album, and you basically seemed like you put together that second side of the album.
Yeah. And I haven't really talked about this much, so thank you for bringing it
Yeah,
up because I
yeah.
keep meaning to post about it,
Mhm.
and I haven't had a chance. I just, and I kind of just avoid social media as much as I can in general. But I did some ghostwriting for them because they were in the studio with Jacob, and
Hanson.
Jacob, yeah, who
Yeah.
does our albums.
Mhm.
And he was like, they're looking for some help with lyrics because they're just kind of um they're in here and they're writing on the fly, which I'm like, oh, that's terrifying. You guys are so brave. And they're just like, so we just kind of want to like double our time and have, every time a song is finished, send it and see what you can come up with. And so I worked on, I think, 5 tracks, and 3 of them were fully me, and then the other 2 were just I did like the chorus of one, and then I just changed some things around for the other one, um, to just kind of make it all fit. I was kind of doing like a little mini concept record at the on the tracks that I worked on, and it was a lot of fun. It was like I was doing, it was basically ghostwriting for them. So they would send me the song with melody, like vocal melodies that he was kind of singing over it just in gibberish. Just like, this is kind of what I was thinking, and this is my idea for the chorus and that kind of thing. And so I'd be like, okay, and I would take it, and sometimes I'd have to change it a little bit just to fit with words. But for the most part, I tried to fit words to the melodies that he had come up with. And I was just, trying to think outside of the usual Unleash the Archers kind of world and come up with something that I felt maybe would fit the vibe for them. And it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And we did a lot of back and forth, and kind of, there was one part where he was like, he can't say these words like you can with his accent. So can we change this? And I was like, oh, right, okay, yeah, yeah. And then I'd have to kind of figure out how to do something with less consonants, more vowels. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So I keep thinking, I'm gonna do like a post about it and then just kind of put it out there into the world if anybody else is interested in ghostwriting with me. I'd love to help out because one of my favorite parts of the whole writing process is putting lyrics to the melodies and figuring all that out, and just trying to make it work and still sound poetic and still make sense and still tell a story and don't get too muddy, and try not to have too much going on. But so yeah, I really, really enjoyed that process. And I was just like,
And working
thanks,
with accents,
Jacob.
like you said.
Anyone else you have, Jacob, I'm here if you want. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
But yeah, the challenge working around accents, that must have been just that much more. It's like, oh no, I'm so close, but I got
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was just like, oh shoot, I didn't think about that. I was like, okay, because they sent me like a clip of him doing it, and he was just like, is there any way that this word could be a different word? And I was just like, oh shoot, yeah. So like once I kind of heard him singing it, then I realized I was like, okay, so I need to work on, do it in more this kind of way as opposed to the way that I would do it. Yeah.
And can you talk a bit about your experience with Andy Gillion, formerly of Mors Principium Est?
Yes.
What happened there?
It was an email. It was like, Britt, I got a thing. Can you be on it? And I was like, yes. And he was like, do you like when you do guest stuff, do you like to like write parts, or how much involvement do you have? And I was like, it's up to you, man. I was like, it's your song. So, it's better for me if you just write what you want and I sing it. kind of thing, and if you have all the ideas. And I was like, and I'll head in the studio and I'll lay it down, and then you just tell me if you want me to change anything. And he was like, okay. He's like, and then he sang the parts for me as the guide. And I was like, hello, who is this male vocalist? Like, why doesn't he just do it? And he's like, oh, that's me. And I was just like, what? Like, it was so good. And he even did like falsetto parts to like mimic. He's like, I need this part to jump the octave. And it was so good. He could have totally done the song himself. But he's like, no, no, I want it to be this juxtaposition. He's like, so I'm going to do the screams. I was like, okay, okay. And so I did it all and everything, and it was a lot of fun. And it was just like, yeah, because we've like known each other through like heavy metal circles for a long time. I can't. We played 70,000 Tons together back in 2019, or was that 2020? I can't remember when it was. And we kind of met on the boat, and we were like, oh, cool, yeah, I know you. And we kept in touch. And we have a mutual friend band down in Australia that we both talk to. So it's kind of like, how are the boys doing or whatever. And then he was just like, I'm doing this project because he's been doing a lot of solo records. And I actually reached out after his last one, which was like, I think it was called like Arcade Music or something, video game. I can't remember the exact name of it, but the record before, and it was just like him on guitar doing really cool synth stuff. And I loved it. And I listened to it like front to back over and over. And I tweeted at him, I was like, Andy, this is brilliant. I was like, I freaking love it, man. And so he was just like, oh, cool, thanks. And then I think when he decided he was going to have vocalists on the next album, he thought of me, and I was just so stoked that he did because it was an awesome song and it was a lot of fun. And then he's just like, hey, could you just like go in the studio and film yourself singing it? And I was like, absolutely. And I played around with it a little bit, and I like had like different angles and stuff, and I was just like kind of joking around with it a little bit. And he didn't use all of my footage, which is funny, so that's okay. But it was a lot of fun. It was great, and it turned out really well. So I was stoked, absolutely stoked to be a part of it.
So maybe another chapter at some point, but for now we got the one out there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you never know. I mean, once you make friends in this business, you just kind of constantly calling on each other and being a part of each other's projects and
Yeah, it
things
is
like
very
that.
cliche, but it is definitely family oriented as well, and
Yeah,
everybody's trying to support each other, and people want to work with each other and make things happen. Now,
totally.
this is also a very big year though for Unleash the Archers, the 10th anniversary of Time Stands Still, the
Yeah.
first major kind of release. Uh,
Breakthrough album.
how does that feel? Yeah, like that's the one that get you out there. Any plans? Is this one of those things where you're considering maybe doing a front to back album just for the hell of it?
Oh man, I don't know. It makes
Consider
me
that?
feel old. That's what it makes me feel. Because I felt old when we released that album. I was like, oh man, we've been in the business for so long, and finally we're getting signed, and finally we're getting, an album release on a label, and took forever, and then here it is 10 years later. So it's just really funny. But yeah, I don't think we're not, yeah, shows wise. I'm not sure. We were kind of talking about doing something locally, maybe, but it's just looking like timeline wise, it might not line up. But we are doing a remaster right now. So that's really exciting.
Oh,
And took us a while to find all the stems and everything because we recorded at like three different studios for that album. Because we wanted to go with Jacob, but it was too short a notice. He's like, you need to give me like 6 months. And we were like, oh, okay. So we just did it in Vancouver at a couple different studios, mostly working with Stu McKillop from Rain City Mastering. I think he's only doing mastering now, but and we did one, like we were at a studio with him for a part of it, and then we were with Braden for another part of it at his studio that he was working at the time, and then we were with another buddy, so that they were all over the place. It was like trying to gather everything. And I wouldn't be surprised if like stuff is still missing, when we get the master back, and be like, oh, where are those harmonies? Like, oh, who knows, lost to the ether. So we'll see how it goes. But um, Andrew kind of sent over some tester ones because he was doing like he was doing the pre levels before sending it off, make sure that everything is there and well organized and stuff. and he sent us just sort of some tidbits, and it already sounds like so different. And yeah, with just how much has changed
Hmm.
production wise
Mhm.
and computer wise, like what computers can do now, how powerful they are and what they can handle, and the plugins that are out there and things like that. It's gonna I think it's gonna completely
Hmm.
repaint the whole album in a completely different light. So, and we're not saying, like don't enjoy the old one, because absolutely a lot of people discovered us from that record and they love it, hearing it a certain way, uh and they're gonna always love hearing it that way. So it's, be hard for people to kind of listen to the new one. But honestly, I feel like it could just be for new fans could love the songs, because the style that we were in there was such a more raw, heavy metal style, little less fantasy, less synth, less um even more kind of power metal. It was just like heavy metal, like very sort of Judas Priest inspired, and like Scorpions kind of vibe, like just like, you know what I mean? And so people might hear the new master and love us for a different reason than those that have heard our other music. So who knows? I mean, it could get us some new fans, or people could hate it. I mean, what are you gonna
It's
do,
a,
right?
it's a crapshoot. But there'll be physical. It'll be a physical release.
I think so, yeah. Well, we gotta talk to Napalm about it,
I
kind
hope
of
it's not just
whether.
for those digital only things. Those are always
No,
frustrating. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that. I
Yeah.
don't think. We could, we want to have some fun with it, but we're like running out of time for the year,
Yeah. I was gonna
so
say, so looking for like a fall release, perhaps then.
yeah, I think so. It's what we're gonna aim for. We'll see how it goes. We're also not rushing it, because it's just kind of like it's like a, just something that we're interested in. Nobody's asking for it or anything like that, and it's just kind of our little pet project in the band. So we'll see how it goes. But we definitely want the world to hear it and to see what they think. And because I know, I it was funny because I listened to this one Halloween record that was remastered and I loved it and I thought it was awesome, but I'd never listened to that album before.
Yeah.
And Andrew listened, he's like, "Oh, what, you like that?" He's like, "No, the other one from the 80s was way better." And I was just like, "Really?" Listen to the two of them. I was like, but that's, context right there. So, because Andrew listened to that Halloween record and fell in love with that one, and I listened to the new one and fell in love with the new one. So we'll see how it goes.
I think
No,
yeah,
no,
no, you're exactly right. People from the day, it's like, no, you can't touch it. It's sacred.
yeah,
But like you said, this is a great way to perhaps get some new people on board
mhm,
that maybe just jumped on the last record
yeah,
and haven't gone back.
yeah,
So this is going
exactly.
to be fresh to them. It'll
Yeah,
be their Halloween for you.
yes,
Yeah, see?
absolutely, yeah. That, because I hadn't really listened to them before that,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, we remastered this old record," and it's like, okay, sure, let's give it a listen, and we'll see what happens. So no, absolutely zero expectations whatsoever.
But just a nice little, anniversary edition, which is cool.
Mhm.
So I look forward to. Now, not that you don't need more things to be working on, but have you given any thoughts to the next record?
Oh
Any,
yes,
yes,
of course.
concepts, ideas?
Yeah, it's already ready to go and ready to be worked on. So I think as soon as we get this time standstill thing out of the way and kind of in a nice tidy package where we can just let it kind of do its own thing, we'll start working on the next one. And it's the story's written and the ideas are already there. And I'm sending voice memos to the boys and everything of, vocal ideas and melodies and stuff like that. So
Do you have a
it's
working title for it?
yes. No, you cannot hear it. I think it'll probably be the name of the record, actually. So
Oh, really? How about
yeah,
that?
yeah, we're
Which
pretty
is?
sorry?
Which is?
Heck no, I can't say. You heard it here first. Oh, too
Oh,
early.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I won't push. Now, I wanted to touch on before you get going, the Vakan Metal Battle this year. Always a pleasure to have you be a part of that. I enjoy being a part of that, being the judging part of the panel.
Hmm.
How was it for you this year? What were some of your standouts, some of your highlights, things you remembered and so forth? Because yeah, I think you did an awesome job, as all the other judges did as well, giving very thorough and very constructive criticism
Hmm.
and advice that I think is invaluable for these bands.
Hmm. I had a great time. I always have a great time, which is why every time Mayo comes knocking, I'm always like, yes. And unfortunately, I couldn't be there for a couple of the early ones because because we were on tour and all that sort of stuff. So, but I got to be there for the semifinal where we decided the BC finalist. And then I got to be there for the actual Canadian final, which happened in Vancouver for the first time ever, and decide who, got to go to Vakan. So that was a lot of fun. Also a lot of pressure, but really hard. Like I kept saying at the beginning, I was like, I hope someone just absolutely stands out so that we can just be like you. But no, of course not. We spent the entire, because we brought the last year's BC winner in to do a little headline set at the end of it all, at the final there. And we spent their entire set. I wanted to watch them, but I couldn't. We spent their entire set debating on who would go forward because it was just so tough. It was like so many awesome young bands in Canada right now. And, I feel like it's kind of, it's like it's always been like that, that just the churning out of new music in Canada is constant and the creation of new bands and the enthusiasm of young musicians and everything is just always replenishing itself. So that's really great. But it was tough. It was a tough decision. But I would say, yeah, the last band of the night was the one that impressed me the most. And so I kind of went in there being like, all right, let's see if I can sway these judges, to agree with me or to see it from my point of view. So, but yeah, it was a ton of fun. And it's always great working with you and whoever Mayo gets on board, he always picks awesome people. And it's just it's such a fun, like I don't even social like exercise kind of a thing of getting to hang out with fellow metalheads, but kind of also be like critiquing these bands and trying to figure out, what the future of heavy metal in Canada looks like. And it's always a great time. I love doing it.
That's cool. I appreciate that it seems it's a really just chill group of us that we
Hmm.
all listen to each other. Nobody's over talking anybody, and
Hmm.
it's comfortable. It just seems to work. So why mess with something that works, I guess.
Totally. Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
Bastards, you last four bands, yeah. Beyond Suffering, Soul Thief, Yeg, and the winners Guillotine. You all made it very challenging, and you're a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, it was true. Yes, it
Yeah.
was very challenging. The second that Soul Thief came out and they were like really tight
Oh
and
yeah.
well
Yeah.
put together, I was
Like,
just like,
damn,
oh
damn,
no. I
damn.
was like, this isn't going to be easy because I knew how good Yeg was because we had seen them in the semi.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, well, these guys are, neck and neck for sure. And then yeah, Beyond Suffering, I had never heard of. So I was really excited to hear them. And they, of course, knocked it out of the park. So I was just like, oh, great. Um, this is going to be tough. And then Guillotine came out and just melted my face. They were, I think they were kind of more my style as opposed to others, probably, which is why I like them so much because they were just like fast, like speed metal with awesome vocals and just like ripping guitar solos. And that's like that's right up my alley. So I had a huge smile on my face the whole time they were playing as well. So it was, but then I was just like, oh man. You guys just all had to be good, didn't you?
Well, that was the thing with, like you said, when Soul Thief came out, I immediately felt that, yeah, you clearly won your region. Next band
Mhm.
came on, yeah, you clearly won your region. So these should be the country's best four bands, and I felt that that was the case.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
good for Guillotine, and they got the pleasure, or will be having the pleasure playing in Germany this coming August.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we're about good. Any last tidbits for anybody out there? Come see you in at the Pirate Metal
Metal party.
July the 6th,
Yeah.
correct? And then you're hitting the UK on July the 7th, and you're gone for 2 weeks, and then you're back, and then you're going to start prepping the 10th anniversary of Time Stand Still,
Yep.
and you're going to keep busy as always.
Always got to have something going on.
Well, thanks again to Brittney SLAYES for being a guest on Different Stages Radio.
Thanks for having me.